What's up, Wise Flyers? David here. Today we're talking about the 5 best ways to use miles and points to get to Hawaii. So currently I'm on the island Oahu of Hawaii. So there's 8 islands that make up Hawaii. Oahu is just one of them. I got the mountains behind me. I got the beach in front of me. I'm loving it here. I'm spending a week here and then a week in Kauai. I'm with my wife and 2 daughters, so I'll sprinkle in some travel pictures and videos throughout this video. So we all know Hawaii can be pretty pricey to get to if you're going to pay cash flights. When you're in Hawaii, it can be pricey if you're going to stay at nice hotels. And if you're going to do a bunch of tourist stuff in Hawaii, that could be expensive as well. So you want to save as much money as possible. And by leveraging miles and points, you could save a ton of money on flights, which is what we'll talk about in this video. If you're going to use miles and points for your round trip to Hawaii from the mainland US, then you're only going to pay $11.20 in taxes, because you're in the US. So if you want to use miles and points to get to Hawaii and save a ton of money, definitely pay attention to all the examples in this video, and I'll even share a sketchy way to get to Hawaii with only 15,000 city thank you points round trip from the mainland US. But I'll share more details on that later on in the video. First point to use to Hawaii is going to be British Airways Avios points. So British Airways is distance based. So if you're going to use Avios points, then it makes sense to do it from the West Coast. So if you're going to fly from the West Coast of the US to get to Hawaii, it's going to cost 26,000 Avios points round trip in economy, which is a pretty good deal. You could find some non-stop options for 26,000 round trip from Anchorage, Alaska, Oakland, California, Portland, Sacramento, San Diego, San Jose, Seattle, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. And the destinations you could fly to could be Honolulu, Maui, Kauai, and Kona. It's important to note that British Airways charges per segment, so if there are connecting flights, British Airways will charge more points for that. So if you do the non-stop route, then that's when it'll be the 26,000 round trip. And the best way to look up British Airways Avios points to Hawaii, so you're not actually going to be flying on British Airways, it'll be on its partner American Airlines or Alaska Airlines. But the best way to find availability is if you go to aa.com, type in the routes that you want, and then make sure that you're getting the saver level seats. Those are going to be the seats that will show up for British Airways Avios points. You don't have to book a round trip when using Avios points. You could just do it one way and kind of mix and match points if you have to. And there are a few different ways you could get British Airways Avios points. You could get the Chase British Airways signature card. Those are always offering different sign-up offers depending on the year when you're watching this video. Also, you could transfer Chase Ultimate Reward points and American Express membership reward points at a 1-to-1 ratio over to British Airways, or you could use Marriott points, which I don't think is the best way to use them because it's a 3-to-1 transfer ratio. So 60,000 Marriott points will become 20,000 British Avios points, plus you get an extra 5,000 anytime you transfer in 60,000 increments. So 60,000 Marriott points will become 25,000 British Airways Avios points. And if you don't live on the West Coast, it may seem like British Airways Avios points isn't worth it, but you could always reposition. You could try to get to the West Coast as cheap as possible, or even include the West Coast as part of your vacation. Next option is Singapore Airlines Crisp Flyer Miles. So from the mainland US, it'll be 35,000 Singapore Airline miles round trip to Hawaii. That's in economy, and if you wanted to do it in business class, it'll be 60,000 Crisp Flyer miles round trip. And since Singapore is partnered with United, then you're going to be flying on a United flight. So compared to the price of using United miles, like if you were going to use that, it would be 45,000 United miles compared to 35,000 Singapore Crisp Flyer miles, even though you're going to be flying on the same plane. So here's my wife, my 1-year-old, and my 6-year-old daughters. We're in Kualoa Park in Oahu. It's really beautifully. So the best way to find award seats is if you search on the United flight, since you are going to be flying on a United plane, and you want to search for the Saver Awards, which is the lowest level awards. If you find that, then you're most likely going to be able to book the Singapore Airlines flight, because Singapore is only going to book at the Saver space on United flights. Now, depending on when you're watching this, I'm currently filming this September 2019. In November, United is going to switch over to a dynamic award chart, which means it'll be a lot harder to do this. So if anything, you could also go to Air Canada's Aero plan and look for availability. It's a little more difficult than United, but that's another option. And there are a few different ways you could earn Singapore Airline miles. It is a transfer partner of Chase, Amex, Citi, and Marriott. So all of those cards that allow you to transfer over to transfer partners are going to give you Singapore Airline miles, which is great. So if you have Amex cards, Citi cards, Chase cards, then you could pool them together in your Singapore Airlines account and try to get the whole family over with Singapore Airlines. As I mentioned before, Marriott may not be the best option to transfer because it is a 3-to-1 ratio. You're taking a big hit, a big loss on transfer there. Also, it's really important to note that anytime you transfer your points over to Singapore or any other transfer partners, all transfers are final. So you want to make sure that there's availability first before you transfer. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck with these miles or points in your account, and then there's nothing you could do about it. You have to only use them with that loyalty program. So there is another level to this. If you were to fly an Alaska Airlines flight through Singapore Airlines because they're partners, then you could get a round trip from the US to Hawaii or mainland US to Hawaii for $24,000 round trip in economy. So if you could find award availability on Alaska, saver level, lowest level, then you get a direct flight, then you could get a $24,000 round trip. Compared to if you were to just book it with Alaska Airline miles in general, it'd be $15,000 per way or $30,000 round trip in economy. Next option is to use Southwest Airlines to get to Hawaii. So I know in the points community for years we've been waiting for Southwest to finally get flights over to Hawaii. So you could do it. It's really straightforward too. So you just go to southwest.com. There's no partners, there's no alliances or anything like that. You search for award availability. So Southwest is a fixed value point system, which means to use the Southwest Rapid Reward points, it's usually going to be 1.6 cents per point. So whatever the cash price is usually going to be the points price. So there's no way to leverage certain routes or anything like that. With Southwest, it's going to fly from Oakland and San Jose, California to Honolulu and Maui. And there's also inter-island routes between Honolulu, Maui, and Kona. So Southwest is a pretty good option, and it's super simple to check. There's, like I said before, no hassle. So of course it depends when you're looking for availability and what the cash prices are, but it could be as low as 10,000 Southwest Rapid Reward points per way in economy, well, I guess there only is economy, to Hawaii, to Honolulu or Maui from either Oakland or San Jose. Now, of course, the best way to really take advantage of Southwest is to have the companion pass. You do so by getting 110,000 Southwest Rapid Reward points within a year, and then you could bring a companion with you completely free, points-wise, but then you just have to pay the taxes. As I mentioned before, it's only $11.20 in taxes per person round trip. There are a few different ways you could get Southwest points. It's a transfer partner of Chase Ultimate Rewards, so any Chase credit card, Chase Sapphire Preferred, Reserve, Ink Preferred, you transfer it over to Southwest at a 1-to-1 ratio, and you have Southwest points there. Or you could get the Southwest co-branded credit cards through Chase as well. If you are going to go the credit card route, I recommend waiting until the sign-up offers are at least 50 to 60,000 points. This way you're getting the most out of it. Sometimes throughout the year, depending on when you're watching this video, the sign-up offers could be as low as 40,000 points. And now the cheapest option, but also the most sketchy option, is 15,000 Turkish airline miles round trip to Hawaii from the mainland US. I'll dive a little bit deeper into this. So Turkish Airlines used to consider Hawaii part of Oceania, so places like Fiji, Tahiti, places like that, but Hawaii is now considered part of North America, part of the US. So because of the Turkish Airlines award chart, you could fly anywhere within the US for 7,500 thank you points because Citi thank you points transfers over to Turkish Airlines at a 1-to-1 ratio, or at 7,500 in economy or 12,500 in business. So although you're booking on Turkish Airlines, you will be using their partner, which is United Airlines. To fly a one-way from the US over to Hawaii with United Airlines is 22,500 miles. So this is a big gap in price here, but it's also, I hear from what I've heard with booking it, it could be a little difficult. So you definitely want to do your homework on this option, but it is the cheapest. And if you want to learn more about going to other destinations using miles and points, you could click this playlist over here or click this link down here, and I'll see you in the next video.